Coach Kaye has got a wonderful session lined up for us today, so I am not going to take very much of her time at all. I do want to give a brief introduction for those of you who don't know Kaye Monroe. She is the CEO and founder of KDM Coaching and Associates, home of the Dream Builders Academy. She is an award-winning influencer, author, and coaching strategist. It is her mission to inspire and empower women experiencing challenges within leadership and professional roles. Kaye also currently serves as the vice chair for the Charlottesville Chamber Minority Business Alliance. And I am just absolutely thrilled that she is available and going to spend the next hour with us today. So Kaye, I'm going to turn things over to you.
Thank you so much. Hello, beautiful ladies. So glad that you're spending your lunchtime with us and that we have an opportunity to have a conversation based on Janie's choice on goal setting. Some of you may have seen me, Anne-Marie just spoke to it. I did a 3-minute segment on NBC 29 in December, and I got a lot of feedback from that. So it appears that we're going to take the ball and move it forward today and visit this just a little bit more. Just a disclaimer, I am not the sole authority on goal setting, goal planning. However, I think I have enough tidbits to share with you based on my client experience and personal experience that will allow you to think. So the first thing I want to do, the topic today, 6 pocketbook principles for successful goal planning. The reason why they are 6 pocketbook principles is because the goal is for you to be able to take what you have today and put it in your pocketbook. And each time you have a decision that you need to make or change or challenge that you are trying to overcome, that you will go into your purse and you will pull out this slip of paper and you will review it as often as necessary to move forward with your goal. So having said that, I want to first, let me go backwards because I'm going to introduce you to a poll. I want you to take a few minutes and answer these questions. Okay, almost there. Okay. 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 So it appears we got some good numbers here. Still a couple people that need to click, if possible. Okay. 91% participation. We have a couple left. Okay, we have varied responses. It looks real good. I'm going to end the poll. Okay. Thank you for your participation. This helps me to know that I'm on the right track for today. No matter what you're thinking about, whatever that goal might be, I want to show you some reasons why. Let's end this. People abandon their goals. Now, I'm going to give you all credit because some of you all have set a goal. Some of you are moving toward the goal. Most, if not all of you, feel like the goal is important. Some people, it looks like, spend a little bit of time thinking about it. No, we have mixed reviews here. But I want to talk to you for a few minutes about goal abandonment because we don't talk about it. And I know a lot of people who set out with great intentions to accomplish something, however, have faltered. Forbes magazine says 80% of New Year's goals will be abandoned within 21 days. Don't know if any of you are in the group, but let's look at some reasons. Lack of planning, little to no self-monitoring, no accountability. That's a big one for me. Lack of emotional commitment. You want the change, but are you really ready? Not really ready to change. And this is the biggest one. Change is hard. I don't know about anybody else, but I know when I think about change, change can be very difficult. So putting all this in context, and what I must also tell you is that only 19% of the individuals surveyed in this were able to complete or accomplish their goal. What I also know is, and you all can help me with this at some point, and feel free to use your chat box. We have great intentions, and I wonder sometimes if setting the New Year goal has just simply become an habitual act. And I know that people have great intentions. I won't tell you what grandma says, but she said there's a road that's, what paved. Okay. Anyway, I'll go forward with that one. Change is very difficult. And I think that we have good intentions in terms of wanting to do it, but things happen. So let's turn for a minute to this formula. Does everybody know this formula? You've heard it before. The SMART goal is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. How many people here are really using this? How many people here use this formula or have found the formula valuable? Show of hands. What do you think? No. Wow. People are saying no. Okay. So then this is the reason why I wanted to put it here, because we're going to can this today. If you were using it, great. I think there's some parts of it that are very, very important. But before we even get to this part of it, there's something that I think we need, or a few things we need to keep in mind. So when Janie gave us the topic about goal setting, I thought about goal setting, what that really means. Okay, set the goal, put it on paper. We have the intention. But there's a difference between setting the goal and planning. Planning to make this change. They're two different things. What makes this different? This is the first principle. Keep this in your mind. What do you need to do? First principle, to get this goal accomplished. You're going to have to make a mindset shift, because everything that we want to do begins in the mind. Think about it. It begins in the mind. When you guys begin to do your spring cleaning, aren't you sitting there planning what that looks like? You're thinking, what clothes do I need to give away? Where do I need to tuck things away from the winter? You're getting a plan in place. Even when you go to the grocery store, you're planning your trip to the grocery store. Why wouldn't we be planning on setting our goal? Well, this is why it's important. Because sometimes we make impulsive choices. Because, okay, you ever had that day when you looked in the mirror and just said, dang it, I got to lose weight, or I got to exercise, or whatever that is. You know you have to do it. So you say, today I'm going to go ahead and do 10 jumping jacks. You get them done. And then tomorrow you're like, you look at yourself, well, did that really help? Or you wonder, well, is this really the right way? I want us to move away from making impulsive thoughts about goals and setting goals. And I want the mindset that we take on to think more of transformation. How do I transform my situation? In this new year, I resolved to. You answered the question, state that goal, state that intention right now. Put it on a piece of paper. Pull your paper out, paper and pen. What is that one thing? Even if it's something, even if it's something that you tried before, you failed, something you've been thinking about. In this new year, I resolve to. What is that? And leave that there, because we're going to come back to it. Impulsive thinking, we just do it. But transform thinking, the mindset shift, requires contemplation. And I don't know that we do that. This is the thoughtful, considerate act and looking at something with great intention. It is reflective. You are thinking about all the little parts or pieces of it. And the desire to change it. What does that look like? And I'm going to tell you how you can get to that. Envision it. Everybody right now, get the vision, that goal that you put at the top of your paper, whatever you wrote, that intention. Here's the question. What would it look like if this challenge were solved? Okay, I'm giving you a moment. Daydream, write it down. Can you see it? What does it look like? You probably haven't thought about it. You don't think forward, you think in the now. You have the moment right now, the opportunity to daydream. What would it look like if this challenge were solved? Because you need to give yourself something to look at. The other piece of that is going in your pocketbook again. It's going to remind you. This is the first principle. Make the mindset shift, okay? You're going to transform your thoughts by thinking deeply and thoughtfully about this desire. Okay, that's principle number one. Principle number two, let's think about what the motivation is behind it. There's a reason why you want to do it. What is the reason? Why? Let's identify it. We don't do this. I know when you guys are writing your goals, you don't think like this. So now we're making the mind shift change right now. First question, what are the rewards and benefits you would receive from attaining this goal? Write it down. What are the rewards and benefits? How will this benefit you? Everybody writing? Okay. Now, tricky question. What are the consequences for not attaining it? We're not working toward it. Remember, we're looking at our behavioral motivations. What would happen if you did not do this? Yeah, we'll make it very concrete. Okay. Here we go. It's another solid place. How does this goal support or relate to your personal value system? Yeah. So if you say, my health is important, it's one of my primary values, how would that goal that's related to your health and well-being support this? This, whatever this is it, I don't know if it's running, if it's dieting, eating differently, but think about your value system. How does this goal support that? Okay. And I love, this is greater still. What is the return on my investment? And ROI. If we're businesswomen, we understand that that's an important term. If we're going to invest time, if we're going to invest money, what is the return that you should expect, or any other benefit? And it may not just be you. It could be your family. It could be your team, your coworkers. Who else? It could be your doggy. Who else gets the benefit? Maybe the doggy gets a half-hour walk versus 15 because you decided you were going to take, I don't know, 10,000 more steps. Whatever that is, make it concrete. What is the return? You have more money in your pocket because you're not going to spend on whatever that is. So everybody getting it? Okay. Third principle. Make the emotional commitment to yourself. It's an emotional commitment. And we got to, because every part of us goes with this. We don't leave any of ourselves behind. This is an emotional commitment. It's going to require you to show up regardless of how you're feeling. Why is this important? Because sometimes when life happens, our thoughts go everywhere else. Think about it. A day in the life of, stuff just happens. A prime example, you could use COVID even in this. What did COVID do? It consumed us. And many of the things that we wanted to get done couldn't get done. Instead of doing those, we worried. Okay, how could anyone get control of their thoughts when they were fighting an enemy they couldn't see? But the truth is, it is a choice. We must choose. Take control of your thoughts. Now, this right here, this particular area, I'm going to tell you right now, The majority of the women that I talk to, that I coach, have to deal with this negative mind chatter. And a lot of that, what I've come to find out, is this idea of not feeling confident. I don't feel confident enough. You know, I would like to do it, but I don't feel like I have the courage to get it done. Courage is everything. You know, how do you handle the negative mind chatter? Let me stop here and say this. I'm going to be quite frank with you. In this particular time, there are a huge percentage in terms of numbers of women who are trying to maintain their mental health and well-being after being challenged with so many things. And I know a lot of them, they have kids at home and they had to work during COVID, and kids had to go to school during COVID. And still some of them are not even back in their offices. Can I do this? Every day they get up and ask themselves, how do I do this? Every day. Doesn't change. It's the same. Hit rewind. The same day as yesterday is today. How do you deal with that? I can't do it. What if? How do I get past this? I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I'm too fat. I'm too small. What do we do with this? I'm going to tell you right now, you need somebody to talk to, if that's you. And let's talk about it. There are triggers. Anybody know what triggers are? I'm gonna give you an idea of what that is. It used to be when things bothered me, the first thing I would do was go eat something sweet. Yeah, just eat a piece of cake, eat candy, whatever those things. Have you identified those triggers? If you have, please write those down. What are those triggers, or those self-imposed limitations that you say to yourself, or that you can identify? Those beliefs, those negative things that need to be conquered. What are they? You got to name them. If you don't name them, then you don't give them the proper addressing. So you've got to name them and call them by name. I see you. I know who you are when it visits you. Does anybody do that? Has anybody thought about that? I don't think we do it. What are those thoughts that come to sabotage you, and how do you manage them? How do you do that? Yeah. What about obstacles? I would tell you right now, I bet you everybody in here is a whole lot better with obstacles than they used to be, because they had to get creative the last 2 years. I know I did. So if you had any obstacles, maybe you want to go back and think about how you manage those. Because even while you are planning to set this goal in place, life's still going to happen. It's going to show up. What are your, let me give you a question right now. It's going to help you. What are your superpowers? Does everybody here know that they have one? And if they do, what is it? Because sometimes you got to go back and visit that place where you have superpower and you saw what you were able to get done, so you can create your own internal motivation. I remember when this happened, and my superpower, name it, my superpower allowed me to do this. I'm going to have a workshop on superpowers one day, because we have them. We just don't talk about them. We don't take time to identify them. But today you will. When you think about your superpower, you can see why you can make an emotional commitment to you, because you have some. So we're going to work on those. That's for you to do. Then the last piece, you've got to ask yourself this question. If you've set this goal before, this principle area, emotional commitment, if you set this goal before and you haven't achieved it, why? Why did you not get it done before? Reasonable question. What happened? You've got to be willing to ask yourself the hard questions. Okay. Okay, that's number 3. Let's go to the next principle. Now, I was talking with someone earlier and they confessed. Time factor. Let's talk about time. Time is valuable. And I don't know if anyone here has ever created a time diary, but I want you to do it right now. Get a piece of paper You don't have to work the equation fully, but I want you to start working the equation. Turn your paper over so you have a fresh side. There are 168 hours in a week. Yeah, stunning when you see it like this. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Let's talk about where you fit in that time diary. Yeah. So, you're going to allocate time for work, a little bit of time for rest. I don't know what your rest looks like. I don't even know. Do you play? Write those areas down. Do you work, rest, play, family? And then I'm adding goals on top of it. So let's just do something very quickly. If you know you work 8 hours a day, then you're working, and some people work 8 to 10, depending on what you do. 8 to 10 hours a day, 4 days. What is that? Do the math. 40, 44 hours. Rest. I don't know what time you go to bed or what time you rise, because you may have family. Family includes pet, if we're pet parents, so please include that as well. Do you play? And if you do play, I don't know what that looks like. We didn't even put house chores in there. Okay. We didn't put laundry. We didn't put dishes. We didn't put trash. We didn't put things that we know we do on a daily. But I want you to create a time diary. I want you to keep track of time for 1 week and tell me at some point. You can email me or let me know where you showed up in that diary and how often. Because if you don't, when you're thinking about planning, you're planning. We're not setting, we're planning the goal. If you don't figure out where your time commitment will be, you won't get it done. This is about focus. Okay? The time factor, the time diary, and paying attention to it. Now, if you have a phone, you should be able to quickly do that using your phone. You can go into the calendar in your phone and set up your time diary just using that. Do it for 1 week. Your phone will help you. Just use your calendar. Keep track of your time. And once you do that, then you get to rethink, to contemplate, going back to the mind shift, to contemplate on what the amount of time is that you do have and how much of that you can use is available for you to plan your goal. We're not setting, we're planning. We're still planning. We're still planning. Okay? Because these are all of the principal areas you've got to. The reason why we don't get the goal accomplished is because we don't plan. We just set it. We're going to look at every fact. Okay? Okay. Principle number 5. I'm going to stay here for a few minutes because this is a very important place for me. You're going to have to find your tribe, your APs, your accountability partners. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if you don't make this confession or have this conversation with someone, you don't allow someone in that will hold you accountable and ask you how you're doing or where you are. I'm telling you, it's real. Okay. If you continue to work on it on your own without involving anyone or allowing anyone to give you feedback, and sometimes it's not feedback, you know what it is? It's the ministry of presence. We need people to be present with us while we're working on our plan. Now, for those of you all who have family, you need to have a family meeting. You need to call them all into the family room. You can give them some cookies and milk when they show up, but you need to tell them this is what you're doing for yourself, your significant others, whoever that is, because they're going to need to respect what you're doing for you too. How about that? Do we ever do that? Do we ever sit with those that we love and tell them what is important to us or what we need? Do we ever allow them to participate with us? We call them loved ones, but I mean, how much do they love us? Do they love us enough to give us a 15-minute family staff meeting to talk about our plans and our goals? So this could be a whole family conversation. However, let me stop again. Because what I found out, and this is just for me, how I've gotten as far as I have a tribe. I don't have one. I have a tribe. My tribe is the coach who helps me with my business, the coach who helps me keep myself together so I don't become unglued, just because they create community in a place where I can just talk. It's not a counselor, it's just a place where I can be me transparently, unabashedly, without apology, just show up, be my authentic self. I don't have to put on my work clothes. I don't have to put on my mommy clothes. I could just be me. Now, that may also say, because I met a couple of people, a couple of ladies at the Monticello luncheon, and I realized their specialty. Some of you, your goal is related to finances. If that would be true and you're planning around that, then I know that there's some financial advisors who should be a part of your tribe. Not that you invest anything, but as you're thinking about that, why would they become a part of your trusted advisor circle, your AP? Some of you all may be struggling with nutrition. I don't know what that looks like, but I know what, when I struggle with it, I have to go talk to someone who knows about it. Who is that specialist? Who is that person who becomes a part of your tribe that you are willing to be honest and open and transparent and vulnerable with to speak your truth? This is what I'm thinking about. This is what I'm planning. Okay. Hire a coach. I am surprised by the people that call and say, oh, I need coaching. And when I get in the room, what they really needed is community. They needed a safe place where they could just be who they were, no holds barred, say what they, and be respected and be connected. Okay. And the last part of this principle is, because if you want to get anywhere in life, you got to set some plans. You got to set some plans in place where you go. You cannot just haphazardly do it, because what goal planning does, it helps you get direction. It helps you refine and clarify those actions that you need to make progress. Okay. Find your tribe. So everybody here, you need to be thinking about who that is, what that looks like. If it's a specialist, I'm going to say also, and this is very real. Again, I'm going to say it, mental health. Ladies, if you need a counselor, please get one. I have so many people struggling with burnout right now because they sit and they don't share and they don't talk and they don't have that connection. Women need connection. Women need community. If you don't have one, you need to create that. Okay. You got to do it. It's important. Now, this principle to me is of the utmost importance. I'll tell you why. Because I don't know that we are really kind to ourselves. I think we give ourselves leftovers. We'll eat leftovers every day, whatever, because we're so busy taking care of everybody else. And so some of the reason why we don't feel accomplished is because when we do set a goal or we work on a goal, we make mistakes. What do? I messed up again. I ate that cake. I bought that. I spent this money, whatever that is. And so because we make these mistakes, we feel like give up. We're not kind. We beat ourselves up. Negative mind chatter comes back, visits us, haunts us, and makes us think we can't do that. But I'm here to tell you, there's no perfection. No profession, none at all. Everybody's going to make missteps. I don't like calling them mistakes. I call them missteps. So we kind of got out of alignment. Okay. But there is no perfection. And how about if there was, we wouldn't have anything to work toward. So we need to have these places and lessons where we're growing. I'm coming back to this again. Change is hard. There's just no way about it. It's going to be difficult. Nobody gets it done. I think the behavioral modification, what did they say? It begins at 21 days. If you can hang 21 days and get to 40 days, each time you make an incremental step, you have done something fantastic. When you get to these places where there are missteps, I want you to be kind. I want you to think about what you did learn when you made a misstep. What did you learn? Did you learn something about why you did that? What's the feedback from that? I made a misstep. How did it happen? What didn't I see that I will see differently next time? Yeah. Here's another one. Small victories. How many people celebrate small victories? Are you celebrating small victory? Are you doing it? Come on, y'all. I don't see folk. I don't know if you're doing it. I don't. And if you do, what does that look like? What does that look like in the face of a kindness ritual? I asked one of my clients when I realized how hard she worked, and she was always thinking and always working. I said, do you have one? She says, oh, well, let me think about it. She came back and said, well, I researched it. You researched it? You should be researching a kindness ritual. You should be creating it. You don't want to duplicate what's good for someone else. What brings you joy? How do you reward yourself? How do you demonstrate kindness toward yourself? When do you practice it? Do you? You don't. You do the same thing you do every morning. You get up, get in the shower, put your clothes on, get ready to the next thing. Do you even stop and look in the mirror and say, I love you today? Do you do it? Do you talk to yourself like that? No, you probably stand there and say something different. I had an activity I did with a group of women some time back. I asked them to get a piece of paper, draw the line down the middle, things that I love about myself. On the second page, other half, things that I don't like about myself. What do you think I saw? I saw more reasons why they dislike themselves than I saw reasons why they love themselves. Because they don't practice kindness toward themselves. All they see is the negative. They don't speak to the queen inside of them. They don't speak to themselves about their superpower. I should have put on a Wonder Woman suit today. Yeah. Because you don't do that. You don't self-affirm. All the more reason why you do need a tribe. You need accountability partners. You need people that you can be your transparent self. So you got to answer that question. How, when do you practice acts of kindness toward yourself? Question. Love this one. If goal planning could be seen as a personal act of kindness, what would it look like? Answer the question. If goal planning could be seen as a personal act of kindness, what would it look like? Because it is. Goal planning is a personal act of kindness toward yourself. You don't think like that. I know you don't think this. You don't. But I want you to start thinking about that. If goal planning could be seen as a personal act of kindness, if you love yourself, even if you like yourself, what would this look like in showing yourself kindness? So one of the things I said to this client, I said, you know what? She has kids. She's managing 14 staff people, blah, 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 blah. I said, you know what? How about you consider, rethink, giving yourself the first fruits of your day. When I say first fruits, the vines, the grapes that are on the vine in the morning, the first crack of dawn, those flowers that we see that fresh, where the dew is. What if you got up 15 minutes earlier just to smell the flowers? 15. I want you to start practicing giving yourself 15. And she did. And the 15 was so wonderful that it turned into 20. And then she got more thoughtful about being kind to herself and giving herself what she needed first. That nurturing and practicing kindness. Okay. If goal planning could be seen as a personal act of kindness, what would it look like? That's what it looked like in her life. Okay. Now, look at your paper. Everybody look at your paper. Let's clarify it. You got 6 principles. Let's practice the principles. And I'll go back to them if you need to see them again. But I numbered them so that you can look at the paper and see what you wrote, because you should be doing that. Name the intended goal. The goal is what? And I don't expect you to get through all of this today. Remember, we are contemplating. The whole reason behind this is that you're going to need to make a mindset shift. The only way you're going to make a mindset shift is for you to see it, for you to write it, This is the first action before you set it. You got to look at it. Okay. Why you care about this goal? I'm doing it because of what? Why? Why are you doing it? Write it down. If you have it, write it down. Again, rewards. Who benefits? Who benefits from it? Let me also, so what I should have put in context is that this can be done for both personal and professional. So if you got a situation at work or goals related to work that you need to set, it could be that your staff benefits from it, your boss benefits from it. Who benefits from this? Okay. Okay. Again, state how this goal or intention aligns with your values. How does this align with who you say you are, what your beliefs? Okay. How does that line up? Okay. Name your fears. Number 5, name your fears, temptations, triggers. You should know that there's potential obstacles. We talked about them. If you've had any before, you need to write them down again because they're still there if you didn't deal with them. Still there. Okay. Oh, and I should have said this. If time is a challenge, then that means that you've got to go back to your time diary because sometimes time is an obstacle. I'm just using that as an example. Okay. Whatever that is, think about it and how you will devote. Okay, number 7, I will authentically and transparently ask who. Who is that? Do you know who that person is, that group is, or it could be the title of that professional? Write it in the line. Who is that? You know you need it. If you don't have it, who is it? Is it your coach? Is it your financier? I don't know who it is. Who is that person? Your health guru. Okay. Number 8, I will be kind to myself through the following love actions. What are they? Love. I love me, and because I love me, I will. See, love, we've got this issue with love. We love to say it, but love requires action. When we say we love, there should be an action behind it that demonstrate that we do. Okay, now I'm going to stop because believe it or not, it's already 5 minutes to 1. What I would like to do, I'm going to go and stop sharing this. And I'm going to ask you to go into the chat right now and add your questions. What are your questions? Because we went through this very quickly because it was 10 slides and we didn't have a lot of time. Questions, please. Comments, takeaways. Okay. Who's been in the chat box for me? Is it Janie?
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, Janie. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. We've just gotten a great question from Boomy. When you ask yourself, why haven't I achieved it? How do you discern whether your reply to yourself is an excuse or a valid truth reality of just simply where you are in life?
First thing is write down every possible thing that comes to mind. You got to write it down because the only way you're going to know is when you see it. You have to see it. You've got to look at it. Remember what I said. These are questions, not answers. And when you look at it, you're going to be able to know the truth about what you wrote because you're the best knower of self. Procrastination is a part of this as well. I had a conversation with somebody prior, Boomy, who said that that's just the very thing. It was procrastination. But maybe it isn't procrastination. Maybe it is contemplation. Remember what I said? The mindset shift has to happen first. This is why people don't get it done. What do? They get their gym membership on December 31st and roll to the gym on January 3rd, and they're in there pumping and moving. And by the 21st, they're like, Okay. We should have done some planning around this. We needed to think this through because it's not just the gym. It's time, it's diet. All of these things, there are other factors, this is why this is goal planning, Boomy. So and only if you feel led to, you could give us one idea of why you said that, one thought that makes you ask this question. How do you differentiate between the two? And you don't have to.
I asked from the perspective of a, working mom, and my kids are young. And so sometimes I feel like, am I using them as an excuse, or is it just accepting where I am in life of, starting to work out again? Like I used to work out actively before them. And then now it's a struggle of dealing with husband's schedule, my schedule, the kids' schedules. And so I think that's the most prevalent example is, how do I really work this into life again? And am I using them as an excuse, or is it really just like, accept it, this is where you are, they'll get older eventually and things can change, and so that's why I asked the question.
Is it an obstacle, or is it a reality? Let's get clear. I think you just answered your question. It is a reality. It's before babies you could, but the reality is, so don't call it it is a challenge. It is a time challenge. This is why I said you've got to do a time diary. If you're going to make the change, you have to consider all of these things. Where does the goal fit in my life? Because if you don't make room for this desired change, then how it's going to happen, we don't know. So this is why I want you to think of this as goal planning, not setting. And this is a conversation that you have with your family before you make the goal. Everybody get back to what I said. This is not goal setting. This is goal planning. We're planning. We're going to make informed decisions about the goal we want to set, so we'll have more opportunity for success. Not just doing it. We're going to think about all of those factors. Okay. Anybody else? Question? None? Okay. No questions at all? Are you sure? Anything goes. What happens in this room stays in this room. All right.
Okay.
Yes.
So what is your advice for when you have the conversation with your family, you think everything's all aligned, you've set the stage, and then life happens, things start to slip, and you have to sort of reestablish things with your family again, but it's not always easy to go back and do that when things kind of get away from you. Do you have any advice for that?
Yeah, go back to your principles. You got to figure, do you understand what I'm saying? And by the way, Andrew, just remind me, it's recorded. I'm not asking you to share your personals. This is about questions related to your planning. But Janie, you got to go back to the principles. That's why it's a pocketbook principle. Go back to it, see where you need to start, go back and revisit again. One of the things that I hope that you'll find out as well when you're doing your time diaries is that you're going to have to come to terms with creating boundaries. We don't like boundaries. We don't like to talk about it. Women are we give all the time, and we give ourselves leftovers. Why? Why do we treat ourselves like that? Why do we do that? Why don't we treat ourselves better? Again, boundary. That's an act of kindness. Okay. So we need to talk about boundaries where you end and I begin. Okay. You end and I begin. I begin here. But life will happen because it just does. Go back to your principles and start again. Remember what I said? It's not going to happen overnight.
Right.
I want you all to be thoughtful about the goal that you're about to set. Okay. Is everybody there? Is this making sense? Somebody said, what if I'm too scared? Did I just see that, Andrea?
Yep.
You did.
Well, what the question is, if you're scared, I'm going to coach you by asking you the question and reframing. What are you scared of? What are you scared of? So remember what I said to you, name your fears? or name your triggers, your temptation. You got to name them. What are they? Because you got to start looking at some of this stuff. Okay. Once we name it, well, we figured who you are. You won't show up because I am going to do that. You got to start doing this positive self-talk. But if you don't name it, how can you address it? How can you do that? Okay, naming fears, triggers, temptations. This is why you got a worksheet. Work it on your worksheet. Okay.
Speaking of worksheets, we've had a request for you to send the document with the fill-in so people can write in.
I will definitely send it. That was why I wanted you all to do some writing today, though. I did not want you to just listen. Did everybody write something on their paper? Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. Other thoughts. Takeaways. Let me go to takeaways. One thing you took away that's great value.
I really liked what you said about thinking of things as missteps instead of mistakes. I think that's a really important differentiation, and I think that'll be helpful for me because I always beat myself up about mistakes and it's just a misstep.
How would we learn? Would there
Mhm.
be any need for learning if we didn't make missteps?
That's right.
I mean, listen, none of us are 100. We all need to have something we're working on. And if we're not, we need to check that because something's not working for somebody. You know that. With all parts of you being scattered to the universe, you're trying to bring yourself back to even get a minute. I know you need to be working on something. Okay. I think somebody else should just add something. Andrea, look, check the chat box.
It was me. It was me.
What were you asking?
I was gonna say that my takeaway is like, so there's a difference between being committed to something and then just being involved. And you really,
Yes.
it's you could be involved, like I'm involved in wanting to lose weight, and then you occasionally eat the right thing, and you occasionally, and then being committed to it is always choosing the right things and always doing the right thing. It's like the difference between a chicken and a pig and a bacon and an egg breakfast. The chicken is involved, but the pig is committed, and it's it just, for you to say, name it, call it what it is,
Yes.
say, and be kind to yourself, give yourself a little bit of grace, because it's not always going to be perfect. That speaks volumes. So just want to say thank you so much for your time today. What a blessing.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I love that you got it. You're applying it. And Jen, you're going to be kinder to yourself, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Thank you. That's most important too. Good. Okay. There's something else popping up in the box. Can somebody read it, Andrea? Jen, someone? I can't really read it.
We've got a couple new things.
Janie.
Okay.
One of the takeaways from Kirsten was that she appreciated the direction on identifying obstacles and blockers in advance so that you recognize them when they come up instead of being surprised by them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you've been down here, you already know. You know their weight. You know that spirit of self-sabotage is waiting for you, right?
Mhm.
Like because it knows that you like chocolate chip cookies, and it's always the same cookie dressed in a different wrapper. Chips Ahoy, Nestle, whoever, but it's the same cookie. So you understand what I'm saying? You recognize what it is. Because you recognize what it is, you can write that down because you know it. It's not going to just show up. You know it's going to appear. So you got to name it. This is good.
Another comment from Karen Murray, know your triggers, make a mantra or an affirmation in opposite of your fear. I am good enough, I am strong, I'm smart. She also said the time management planning of 168 hours in a week. It's a very different way of attempting to get your schedule back on track. Think about 168 hours in a week.
Yes. Time diary. I know we don't have them. I know because I actually had to create one I'm kind of thinking about Boomy's situation, again, Anne-Marie's situation. There are things that we just have to look at, the realities, because it may be that you only get 15 minutes for the goal right now. Maybe you could try to add 5 more minutes for the goal planning at some point, but it should be incrementally, because you're going to find out the time diary is only going to dictate to you, what you really have, not a fantasy, the reality of what you really have. Okay, this is good. Very good, very good.
We've got another comment from Tiffany Norman. She said she loves the simple reminder of writing things down from your goals to a time diary. So important and crucial to being successful, but often one of the things we forget. I know that's definitely true for me.
Yes, absolutely. I think we need to have a session on just fun. Can we just have fun? Can we just, I don't even know. Can we figure that out, you all? Maybe we could have a session on what you created with your kindness ritual. I don't know. But we need to practice, okay? And the whole idea of a tribe, this is a tribe. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Crystal said she loves those to celebrate the small wins reminder. You're amazing, Coach Kaye, and always inspiring. Thank you for the gift today.
Yes,
And Kristen said, love the idea of creating a tribe. We always think of the immediate people in our lives, but not the professionals who keep us on track, like our financial advisors and CPAs, other business colleagues. We're surrounded by amazing people. That's so true. And I also really liked what you said, Kaye, about how this is a tribe. I think we often don't think of it that way, but we are all women struggling with, I'm sure, a lot of similar issues. And
yes, ma'am.
That's the point of BWRT, is to support each other.
Absolutely. And women in leadership in particular, women in business, girl, we have so many reporting relationships. I don't know how we keep it straight, because I need a coach. I actually have 3 coaches. I have to have 3 because I'm in so many rooms. I got to figure out, okay, who I need to participate with today to get this done, and the next day, and so on. And you all are going to be the same way, not to mention your other reporting relationships in your work, your family. Oh my gosh, I could not begin to number, because I know if you're like me, your business, you're busy, and you're an influencer. Did you know you're an influencer? I'm just saying, you are. Your family's watching you, you influence them. Your co-workers are watching you, you influence them. But now you need to influence you. Okay. The idea of pocketbook coaching, I created this for you. What I would love for you to do is, everybody show me the paper they wrote on. Let me see the paper. Okay, paper, everybody got their paper? So what I would like for you to do, I have a little, I'm gonna show it to you. Let me grab it. If I were doing this in person with you, I would have given you a gift of some kind. This is a little 4 by 5 by 8 book. It's this size, it fits in my pocketbook. I'm gonna ask you to take this paper, so you have homework. You take the paper that you wrote on, and you're going to rewrite this again with clarity. But this time, I want you to get you a small 4 or 5 by 8 book, something that actually fits in your pocketbook. And you're going to rewrite that, and you're going to put it in your book. Because beginning today, you're going to become intentional about planning to set your goal. Okay. Your first act of contemplation will be your first entry into this book before you write the rest of your notes. You must think thoughtfully, with intention, about what it is that you are saying you want to do. You can call it a vision statement, whatever you want to call it. And then you put this in your pocketbook. You know why it's going in your pocketbook? Because it goes with you to work or wherever you're going. And you can pull it out. Even when you come up with a challenge, you can pull it out and go back to the principles repeat. They repeat, the principles repeat. You can always go back and read the principle if you get stuck. Okay. All right, good. I think I'm done. I don't have a whole lot more to say because I don't want to take up everybody's time, unless there's another question or another comment or whatever that might be. I'm gonna leave it alone, Janie, you tell me.
Does anybody have any other questions?
You accepting
Okay.
clients?
I'm
Are you
sorry.
taking new clients?
All the time. Oh, I forgot to give that last screen. Hold on. I forgot to give you the last screen.
How to get a hold of you?
I'm gonna give it to you. Hold on. Let's see, can I get to it? It's the last one. There I am.
There you go.
That's my number. My Facebook and Twitter is under construction, so I can only give you that for this business, but that's how you contact me. Anyways, fine. You can text at that number.